On the Sideline is back and better than ever. Hello, I'm Gia Lancey.
And I'm Josh Abrams. It seems like everybody's hosting an invite party this year in today's recaps. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. I sat down with a couple of water polo players in this year's first edition of The Sideline.
And later, John Kohlmeyer talks men's soccer in this week's Explorer Report.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3.
Number 1, field hockey earned 2 weekly awards from the A10 this week. First up was senior midfielder Amanda Chapin. Chapin was named Co-Offensive Player of the Week, and her big game against LIU was the reason for the recent honors, as she assisted in both in goals in regulation of the game, and later was the difference maker in the shootout to win the game.
Number 2, next up was freshman goalkeeper Chloe South being named the Defensive Player of the Week. South came up big after coming into the game in the second half for her first ever collegiate game. She kept the game tied by turning away 7 shots throughout the second half and overtime, then finished the job by turning away all 5 penalty shots from the Sharks.
Number 3, junior Daniel Demoter was named MAWPC Co-Player of the Week. Demoter recorded 13 goals and 10 assists to go along with 11 steals and 3 blocks. He played a big part in LaSalle's 2-win weekend as they competed in the Mercyhurst Invite. More on that in recaps.
So that's really cool that Chloe South, in her first collegiate game ever, made that big save in the field hockey game.
And she's a freshman, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be real nice for her because, and especially her parents. I mean, to have that happen to you as such a young player, that can only boost your confidence for the upcoming years.
Yeah, and then also Daniel Demoter winning
PC Co-Player of the Week.
Yes,
I mean, it's like the only award water polo players ever gotten.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of recaps, let's see how the Explorers fared this week. The Explorers squared off against Delaware last week and snuck by with a 1-point victory thanks to a game-winning goal by senior Jess Shanahan in the 80th minute. Also getting in on the action was junior Amari Lukitis and redshirt senior Marcella Robinson with 1 goal apiece. The Explorers' defense was vital in the victory, even with goalie Claudia Jenkins surrendering 2 goals. With her game high of 7 saves, that helped put LaSalle past Delaware with a final score of 3-2. Sunday afternoon, the Explorers took on Navy. Isaiah Clark has the coverage.
Women's soccer took on Navy in last week's Explorer Report Game of the Week. LaSalle started the game, pressuring Navy's goalie with shot attempts, while Claudia Jenkins cleaned up in the back half of the field. Unfortunately, in the 28th minute, Navy found the net to take a 1-0 lead. LaSalle kept the shots coming, but couldn't capitalize, going into halftime down by 1 goal. LaSalle kept firing until finally Amira Lukitis scored in the 60th minute to bring the score 1-1. Navy would take the lead on a controversial goal where the goal scorer was offsides, but the ref didn't call it. LaSalle would tie it up on a goal from Macy Bauer. Navy would pull away again on a goal in the 77th minute, bringing the score to 3-2. LaSalle kept firing but couldn't make anything happen, making the final score 3-2. The loss brings LaSalle's overall record to 4-3-1 on the year. For SportsLine, I'm Isaiah Clark.
The LaSalle men's soccer team met an end to their 2-game winning streak after facing a loss to Rider University on Sunday. Rider took the lead early on as they scored in the 2nd minute of the game off of a rebound shot. Sophomore Brett Werner made 4 saves in the rest of the half to hold the game at 1-0 by halftime. As most of the second half went scoreless, Rider scored his 2nd goal against the Explorers in the 90th minute, which capped off the night 2-0 for Rider. Next up, the men faced Lafayette at home. The first half was tight as the game went scoreless until the 20th minute when Lafayette found the back of the net and an unassisted goal. Towards the end of the first half, senior Pat McCarthy had an open attempt from the right side of the box but was denied by the Lafayette goalkeeper. The remaining half of the game was not so lucky for the Explorers as Lafayette scored 2 more goals, ending the game in yet another shutout against the Explorers 3-0.
This week, field hockey took on LIU, and I had the coverage. On September 14th, LaSalle field hockey hosted Long Island University in a non-conference matchup. The Explorers jumped to an early lead in the 11th minute when freshman Sammy Hackman recorded her first career goal on a redirect in front of the net. The Sharks capitalized off a LaSalle turnover in the 22nd minute to tie the contest with a goal by LIU sophomore Emma Brakeman. In the eventful third quarter, both LaSalle and LIU scored within the same minute to keep the game tied at 2. The remainder of the game and overtime would stay tied, sending the game into a penalty shootout. Senior Amanda Chapin scored the game-winning shot in the third round of the shootout. Freshman goalie Chloe South got the game-winning save in her first collegiate game during the intense shootout. For SportsLine, I'm Gia Lancy.
It was a busy weekend for the men's water polo team as they battled it out in the first 4 matchups at the Mercyhurst Invite. The team came out even, earning 2 wins and 2 defeats. In the Explorers' first match against Salem, junior Daniel DeMotor, senior Joey DeFusco, and freshman Derek Allen kept the Tigers at bay with key goals. However, their efforts were not enough as a tough overtime period left the Explorers with a 13-12 defeat. In their next match, the Explorers were determined to pull out a victory and shoot to a quick 3-0 lead over Penn State Behrend. The blue and gold kept the momentum going, and they finished 16-12 over the Lions. The next day, the blue and gold were forced to be reckoned with, crushing Mercyhurst 18-8 on the Lakers' home turf. DeFusco and junior Ash Lynn contributed to a stellar fourth quarter, solidifying the Explorer victory. Unfortunately, the Explorers could not carry their win streak into the final match against Gannon, dropping to the Golden Knights by a score of 11-7.
Volleyball went on the road this week as they traveled to California to compete in the Thunderdome Classic. The Explorers opened the tournament against Harvard, sweeping the Crimson 3-0. The Explorers had the advantage in kills 42-34 and were led by junior Sam Graver with 11. Next up, they went head-to-head with UC Santa Barbara in a match that saw the blue and gold lose in 3 straight sets. All 3 games were a back-and-forth affair with scoring runs by both teams. Unfortunately, LaSalle couldn't pull through in any of the sets. In their final match of the tournament, LaSalle went up against San Diego, which also saw the Explorers lose 3. LaSalle started out strong in set 1, 5-2, but San Diego would use 2 lengthy runs to come back and win. The blue and gold trailed by the next set at 24-12 before starting to rally. Their hopes of a comeback were quickly stopped with a kill by SDU. In the final set, LaSalle played a close set with the score of 24-23 before once again being stopped by a San Diego kill.
Women's golf has not had a great start to their season. The Explorers competed in their first match of the season at the FDU Invitational hosted by Fairleigh Dickinson. The Explorers finished the day 1 of the competition out of 9th out of 10 teams with a team score of 410. Senior Maribel DeClan finished the day shooting 14 over par to lead the Explorers. The blue and gold would improve on day 2, dropping 16 strokes from their prior performance, scoring 394. Despite the improvement, however, LaSalle would finish the Invitational in 9th place.
Men's golf started their season off competing in the Doc Gimler tournament hosted by St. John's University. The men ended day 1 with a score of 596, putting them 13th out of 14 teams. Junior David Kim shot 7 over par in the first round to lead the Explorers. On day 2 of the event, the Explorers moved up 1 spot to finish in 12th place. Junior Ron Fishhang was able to improve 20 spots and finished tied for 33rd individually.
Well, that's all we have for recaps. Don't go anywhere because when we come back, we're going to have an interview with 2 water polo players. Stay tuned. I need water.
What are they? Oh my God! I swear, these sports show hosts just get dumber and dumber as time goes on. Like, I can't believe people are actually paid money, real money, more than what I make at my job to say this stupid stuff. Like, I can't believe this crap. Oh my gosh. I'm about to lose it. I'm about to lose it. Like, this is just, how can they even?
Hey, what you doing?
This stupid sports show. These people have no idea how the game of basketball is played. Not at all.
Hey, you're not you when you don't watch LaSalle TV. Here, let me show you.
Have much more left, but the only reason why for everyone else it's a one-year rental. Philadelphia here on the South TV. I'm your host, all that comes.
Feel better now?
Better.
You're not you when you're not watching LaSalle TV. To stay up to date, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Hooked to the double feature and you're on my mind. Return of the creature, the crawler from the subway line. You're always keeping me waiting, keeping me waiting for you.
Welcome back. Recently, I got to sit down with two men's water polo players. Take a look. Hi, I'm Gia Lancey, and I'm sitting down with water polo players, senior Derek DeFusco and sophomore Josh DeLillo. We'll just get right into it. So the team offense had an outstanding weekend at the Mercyhurst Invite. What makes this team so different than prior years?
Oh man, I'd say it's just the team's grown so much over the first 4 years that we've gained a lot of good talent from all over the place. You know, we got players from Canada, Hungary, South Africa that are really making a difference. So it's doing a lot, and the team's really progressing.
Yeah, I'd like to say that the freshmen are really, the freshmen this year in my class especially, are really pushing the upperclassmen to work hard at practice and the games, and it's just really intensive practice, and it's making us all work really hard.
Nice. Okay. So Derek, how is it to be the first class that could play all 4 years of water polo at LaSalle?
Oh man, it's a unique experience because, you know, coming in, you're really unsure what to expect. The team has definitely changed a lot since I started, because we had some equipment that was old and outdated. You know, now we're getting some, you know, wins under our belt. We're getting, you know, we're doing a lot better. We're getting real good stuff. So like the other competitive teams. So, gotta say, the team's changed a lot.
Yeah, I bet. And you guys are probably playing like a lot more competitive teams, right?
Oh yeah, because first, like being a first-year team, you get 2 years to, you know, kind of get, you know, your feet under you. You know, you play teams that aren't like in the higher divisions, and then after those 2 years, you go actually into the D1 division. So we're playing teams like Navy, Fordham, Harvard, Princeton. You know, real big names. Like this past weekend at Navy, our first opening weekend, we actually played UCLA. So I mean, that was a great experience.
Cool, cool. And what does it mean to you to be captain this year?
I mean, it's an honor. I mean, it's stuck with it for, you know, 4 years. We had 14 guys come in on this team, and only 6 of us are left. So it's an honor to see the team grow over the years and be one of the, you know, last remaining few.
Mm-hmm. So the team's a lot younger this year, right? A lot of freshmen.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of underclassmen. The freshman class and the sophomore class are huge. So they're gonna do good to help this team in the future.
Nice, nice. And what does it mean to the team that Daniel DeMotor became the first LaSalle player to win the Mid-Atlantic Water Polo Conference Player of the Week?
You know, we like that. It's we strive to, you know, get our name out there, set a positive image for our team, because, you know, that's only going to help us with recruiting and you know, let other teams know we're out there and coming for them.
Mm-hmm. So Josh, we'll start with you for this one. So you guys are student athletes. So you know, we'll talk about the first part. What are you studying here at LaSalle?
My major is communications, and I'm focused on the media track.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any plans to stick with water polo, or?
Probably not after my 4 years here. I'll probably, like, if I have kids, I'll maybe get them involved in the sport because I've been so invested for so many years now. Career-wise, I definitely want to be in like the media aspect, like sports, all that stuff.
Cool, cool. But you still have a few years to like think about it too. So, and how about you?
I'm a criminal justice major, so I'm trying to move back to my hometown of Las Vegas and be a police officer out there. And
cool.
yeah.
Cool. So what's your favorite LaSalle water polo memory? We'll start with you, Josh.
Oh man, there's just like in the 2 years or so far that I've been here, there's just been so many. I definitely just like general answer here. I'll just say like being with the team because whether it's at practice, outside of practice, traveling with games, in the games like themselves, like I just love being with the team. In high school, like being with the team was like a very big deal to me, so I'm just glad it came over here as well.
Cool. So when did you start playing water polo?
I started playing water polo maybe 11 or 12 years old. Little League football ended around that time, and then I needed a new sport to play in the summer. So a couple of my friends on the swim team, I swam as well. They told me to try out water polo in the summer, so I did. Played a couple like summer league pickup games with like kids my age, and fell in love with the sport ever since, and the rest is history.
Nice. And just before this, we were talking about how like it's really not as popular on the East Coast. So like, how popular was it in your hometown?
Yeah, definitely. My hometown was not as popular as like football or soccer or anything like that, but our school was definitely very good at water polo. Obviously, back-to-back state championship titles and stuff like that. So it was very big in our town.
Okay, cool. And how about you? When did you start playing water polo?
Oh man, I started playing in the 5th grade, so I don't even know how old that is. And I've just been playing ever since. I wasn't too good, and I wasn't interested in baseball. And you know, I wanted to play on a swim or like join a swim team because my mom swam in college, and you know, I was literally on a swim team for less than 72 hours before I was like, this sucks. I'm gonna go play water polo. And I just fell in love ever since.
That's cool. And do you have a favorite LaSalle water polo memory?
Absolutely. I know it's kind of unique. It's just coming into school knowing that there's no team and like trying to figure out who was on the team was probably the funniest part because like we had no idea. We just like give each other eyeballs in the hallway. But you know, getting at practice and you're like, well, this is it. We're starting a program. It was kind of the best moment.
That's really cool. So, all right, with only a few minutes left, tell me who's the funniest player on the water polo team. Josh, you go first.
Oh man, we have a cast of characters that are pretty wacky. For my answer, I'll say Joey, Derek's brother. He's like hilarious. He always says like the most random things and the funniest things, and definitely the most questionable situations. But you know, he keeps the morale up with like his jokes and everything.
Cool, that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh man, I would name a couple pairs. You
Okay.
got Josh and not Josh. You got Tyler and Reggie. Those two are always a package deal. Those two are clowns. And then you got Joey and Keegan, I would say, are, like Josh said, those guys together, Joey and Keegan, man.
That's funny.
I will never not laugh at those guys. They're just so spontaneous. It just kind of gets you like when you're not expecting it. So
Yeah, that's really nice that you guys have such good relationships on that team, though.
Yeah.
Love to see that. Well, thanks for sitting down with me, guys. Sending it back to you guys on the desk. It's really cool that like we've been here all 4 years that the water polo team has literally existed here at LaSalle.
It didn't seem that way because I don't really think that they weren't really publicized all that much in the beginning, which is going to happen when you have a brand new program coming to a college.
Right, and they were saying in the first 2 years of them, they actually like didn't really count as Division I, but
Really?
now since our junior year, then they got to play like actual Division I teams. And the past weekend they played UCLA.
And I know they play Navy every year, and
Yeah.
that seems to be a common theme with all the sports teams. But that is really cool, and I'm glad to see that we have just another Division I team. That's awesome.
Yeah, me too. We have one more quick break, but when we come back, we'll go to John Kohlmeyer for this week's Explorer Report.
This is Kevin, and Kevin could use some kindness. Here's Ian. He could be that man. Ian chooses to be inconsiderate and not hold the door for Kevin, and in turn, Kevin suffers. Kindness may be a choice, but doing so is always the right one. So if Ian can make the right choice, you can too.
There's plenty of LaSalle sports action this upcoming week, so let's send it to Johnny K for this week's Explorer Report.
Uh-oh, who's this fresh face? Hey guys, I'm John Kohlmeyer and I'm coming in with this week's Explorer Report. Real hot. Saturday, September 21st, the LaSalle men's soccer team goes on the road to take on the Fordham Rams in an Atlantic 10 competition. The men's soccer team are coming off their first home loss of the season this week, losing to Lafayette 3-0. So far, the Explorers are being led offensively by senior Pat the Attack McCarthy and sophomore Nigel Can't Stop the Buck Buckley, who have 4 and 5 points on the season respectively. Moving to the opposition, the Rams are fresh off losing to 7th-ranked Clemson in double overtime. Fordham senior Jorgen Olin clearly has some calves made of absolute iron, scoring 3 of the Rams' goals this season. For the Explorers to win, they must feed their fearsome striker duo and let them rip at the net. Fun fact about the Rams, courtesy of our friends at Nat Geo, they're about 6 feet long and weigh up to 290 pounds. That's almost as big as Jason Kelsey. Yikes.
So I think this is going to be a tough one for the Explorers. Fordham seems pretty good.
I mean, the only way I could see it being that tough is because it's a conference matchup. I mean, it seems as if the A10, and maybe not just the A10, but any conference, they seem to play each other tough, no matter what the records are. And then this is opening A10 play, right? So it's.
I mean, I think it's going to be. I think it's a good matchup, but like they also did play Clemson and went into double overtime. I mean.
Well, how do we know how good Clemson's soccer team is? I mean, I'm not trying to do. I'm playing devil's advocate for the Explorers
This is true, yeah. But I mean, you always have to think about realistically, like what's going to happen.
Right, and you don't know. I mean, it's hard. It's very hard to tell what's going to happen because I mean, any kind. Sports is so unpredictable.
And especially in conference play.
Yeah, I mean, again, some of these players are definitely familiar with each other. You know, LaSalle's got a nice mix of upperclassmen, underclassmen. And I'm sure teams go through some kind of rebuilding process every so often.
That's true.
Fordham's roster, I don't know what exactly their strong suit is in terms of and how much experience they have, but again, them being conference opponents and playing each other in the past however many years now, the coaches are probably real familiar with each other too. I mean, it's just a long line of familiarity for these two teams.
Yeah, and I mean, the Explorers have a lot of strong suits on their offense right now. So, I mean, hopefully they'll be able to carry themselves for that, so.
Right. I mean, they got to try. It's hard in soccer to set the tone early because of how low scoring it is. But, it seems like the Explorers defense is starting to step up. I'm looking at the schedule, they have a lot of close games, a lot of close losses. I mean, they're really in it. It seems like they're in it every game they play.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, with the weapons of Pat McCarthy, I mean, he's senior, so
they're pretty much destined.
But yeah, so my pick is 2-1 Fordham.
Fordham.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just really think that their weapons are probably stronger than ours right now, but hopefully I'm wrong. How about you?
Well, I have the Explorers winning this game 3-1. They really need to bounce back from what was a mediocre non-league showing so far this season, and Fordham's only won one game this season. I know they've played teams like Clemson really tough and have come up just short, but you look at their track records. LaSalle has played a couple more games. I think they're a little bit more warmed up, more prepared for it in terms of the physicality. I mean, I just think this is a game for this has to be the Explorers game. It has to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's throw it to John for his pick.
Who's my pick for this game, you ask? I'm going with the Fordham Rams, because who doesn't like Rams? 2-1.
All right, thanks, John. Well, good luck to the men's soccer team this week. That just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com or check out this week's edition of the Collegian.
Also check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV and on Twitter and Instagram at SportsLineLTV. Be sure to check out our weekly poll. This week, are you a Coke or a Pepsi person? Last week, pork roll won by a landslide. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions there.
For Isaiah, John, and our SportsLine team, I'm Gia Lancey.
And I'm Josh Abrams. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you at the game.